All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. We're going to start with our blanket or a towel if you have a big bath towel. And I'm opening mine up a little bit and then I'm rolling it. And you can choose how thick you want. If you remember, when we lie back on it, the thicker it is, the more intense it may be. So you can unroll it a little bit and have a little tail of it sticking out. And we are going to put it to the side for right now. Just get that to the side. And we'll start straight on our back. Now, if you want that under your head a little bit, you can use it. Otherwise, we're going to come onto our back, bend the knees, and maybe you want to have them nice and loose, a little further away. And I'm going to start with like a very loose, very gentle Gomukhasana arms. So I'm going to take my right arm and place my right hand palm up under my head. See how that goes. Remember, this is starting off, so super gentle. And then I'm going to take my left hand, palm down, and start to slide that under my sacrum. My hips will lift up a little bit. And if that's too much, just slide the hand out a little more to the left side. So my right hand is under my head, and my left hand is either right under my sacrum or just off to the side of the left. And I've got my feet walked out a bit so that I can comfortably let my knees drop in. And we'll start to settle in here. Maybe you can invite the eyes to close. Make sure your head feels nice and relaxed here and it's not tilting in either direction to extreme, but more neutral. And let the weight of the head and the hips come down into the hands. And start to notice how the breath feels as you breathe in. Not looking to change anything, we're just noticing. And then notice how the breath moves through you as you exhale out. Do that a few more times. Tuning into the rhythm of the breath. Noticing if there's an ease to either the inhale or the exhale. And starting to notice the sounds going on beyond the voice, my voice, and maybe hear what's going on outside or out on the road. And it takes just several more breaths here, letting the body settle into this moment and letting the day and all the thoughts that come rushing just move off to the side. Letting some of the weight of your day move off to the side as we do this gentle stretch to awaken the tissues of the upper body. And then slowly start to release. And maybe you want to shake the arms or roll them in and out. So maybe you just want to pause with them alongside the body. Noticing. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll go right into left side. So left hand, palm turns up, bend at the elbow, take that right hand under my head. I'm sorry, the left hand under my head, and then the right hand, palm down. Lift my hips if I can, and place the hand underneath or just the side. So the palms are facing opposite directions. Make space for what feels gentle and nourishing as we start tonight. I'm just taking stock of this left side. So we'll approach the shoulder from all different directions tonight. But you'll see a lot of repetition and how we use the arms like this, Gomukhasana arms. We'll do a bit with eagle arms. And then just general movements of the arm and the shoulder, which will hopefully bring some support to the neck as well as the back and your whole body and mind. We'll take a few more breaths here, letting the body be a bit heavy, and letting the mind be anchored into the breath. Knowing that whatever your experience is real. And responding appropriately as we move through the practice so that the yoga fits what you need. And we'll have plenty of offerings. As always, make sure you listen, most importantly, to what your body needs as we start to move through and add on. Next, exhale. Whenever you get there, go on and release the hands out and maybe turn them rolling in and out, or if there's another way you want to play around with the wrists or arms, just bring some movement. And then a big inhale in and a big exhale out. Let's briefly grab that blanket. And again, you can decide to unroll it a little bit and place the hips on it, super brief. Just getting a little bit of arch here in the low back. So my lower back is draping off the blanket. My sacrum is on it. There's a nice drape of the lower back off, shoulders drawing underneath. And then we're going to lift the knees in towards the chest. And then gently lift the right leg up to straighten that right leg. And then start to lengthen it just a little bit, about a third of the way. Pause there and then lift back up. So start to straighten and lower your right leg about a third of the way. You'll start to feel a little bit of core engagement. Let the back stay neutral. And then lift your right leg back up. Let's do that just one more time. Right leg extends, lowers about a third of the way down for you, or until you start to feel the core engage. Hug the sides of the waist in. Low back stays long. Neck easy. Good. Inhale that leg back up. Bend right leg. Now lift left leg up. And the same thing. We'll go right into dropping that leg about a third of the way, whatever that is for you. If you start to arch the back, try to neutralize it, hugging it around the sides of the waist. So we really use the deeper core muscles here. And then inhale, lift back up. Good. Do that 2 more times, lowering about a third of the way or until you start to feel some core engagement. And then the breath will lift it back up, the inhale up. And then last one, lengthening the leg, hovering, and then back up. Good. Bring the knees in, rock a little bit side to side. Good. And then place the feet down, slide that blanket out, roll onto your belly. So we're going to come onto our belly. And I'm going to bend my left arm in so my forehead could rest on it, and I'm extending my right arm out. And I'm going to rest my forehead down, and I'm going to extend my arm out just so it's comfortable, so it's not straight ahead at the front of the mat. It's a little bit more towards the corner of my mat. And then just start to lift your hand and forearm off the mat, maybe then your elbow, but let your shoulder stay where it is. So we're just doing a little bit of work here to access different points of the shoulder. So my head on my hand, I'm starting to lift that right arm up now, but not my shoulder. My legs are pressing down, my belly lifting up. My shoulder is staying where it is, but I'm trying to lift my forearm up a little bit more. Pause wherever height you can go, just trying to lift that lower right arm up. And then gently as you exhale, just tap the right hand down. And then inhale, lift up to where you just were. And do 2 more like that. So we're working at keeping the belly and the legs firm down on firm, and then lifting that arm up without moving the shoulder, tapping it down. And then 1 more time. Lifting the arm up without moving the shoulder, and then tap it down. Good. Release that arm. And then switch sides. And I know it seems simple, but I don't know about you, but like just doing this sometimes starts to warm up my body right away too. So with the engagement, start to turn the thumb up. See how that feels, the rotation in the arm, or you can keep the palm facing down. I'm gonna do this side with my thumb up. I'm gonna take my arm a little more towards the side of my mat. Head is resting on my right arm. And then I'm gonna start to lift my arm up without moving my shoulder. My shoulder is hugging in, and I'm starting to lift the arm up. Now try to make it easy on the neck, no tension in the neck. We're gonna work a lot tonight with feeling this sort of differentiation between finding support in the upper body, but not gripping. So finding that difference between engaging to lift without creating tension. And then tap that left fingers down. And then lift back up to your height. Belly lifts up as well, feet press down. Your exhale, tap the hand down, lift it up. And then 1 more time, tap, lift, and exhale, let it go. And start to lift the body up. So come on up to table. And we'll do 2 more things here, just like that, really similar, subtle work, starting to work into the shoulder in a different way than if we were just moving and flowing. Good, so I'm in table here. Now I'm gonna take my left hand and I'm gonna take it into a fist and take my fist onto my sacrum again, that low part of your back, the triangular bone at the base of your spine. Good, I'm gonna stay nice and long through the spine, belly lifting. Good, and now draw your shoulder blade back, hug that arm in, and just start to lift your fist off the low back. Shoulder hugs in, elbow up, start to lift your fist up, and then lower it down. Good, now try that 3 more times. You're hugging the shoulder in, the elbow is bent, the fist is on your sacrum, and then you're starting to just lift that lower arm up, and then tap it down. And again, see if you need to like turn it down and be a little more gentle. See if you're gripping and creating tension, but just try to be a little gentler as you go, noticing maybe going slower, and then exhale it down. Good, last one, arm hugs in, elbow up, gentle, hugging in so you feel that support rather than tension. Good, exhale, let it go. Release that arm down. And switch sides. So come on now to the right side. Again, you make a fist. I find it easier to do the fist than the hand. I'm hugging the shoulder blade in. I'm, in general, moving that elbow up. Just find that first. You know, I'm nothing too precise, but just this general way of getting the body into a shape. And then start to lift the fist off your low back and lower it down. And do that 3 more times. So with the breath, keeping the pubic bone lifting up, low back lengthening. And 2 more times, maybe 1 more. Good, last one if you're not already there. Just lifting that fist. Exhale, release. Good. Place the hands down and let's move through 3 cat and cows. As you're ready, inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, and exhale, round the spine with the head drop. 2 more. Your breath. Your exhale. Trying to soften the edges here. So we feel strong. No rush as we take it piece by piece. Good, back to neutral. We're gonna do one more here. So similar to before, we're gonna extend the left arm, turn the thumb up. Now, keep a nice lift in the core, right? Long through the back. And then start to reach your left arm out. You're gonna start to lift it up a little bit. And then lift as much as you can with the thumb up in the air without moving the shoulder. Good. And then exhale, tap that left fingers down. And then inhale, lift it up again. Again, coming about shoulder height or wherever works for you so the shoulder doesn't move, and then maybe lift a little more. Exhale, tap it down. Good, last one. Inhale, lift up. Thumb is pointing up, palm facing in. Exhale, take it down. Good, release that. If you want to shake it out, shake it out. And let's switch to the other side. Good. Right arm extends. Thumb pointing up. And then start to lift it up. Keep the belly lifting in. And again, here, this is like we're in the experience. It's not about what the pose will actually look like. It's you detach from the outcome of where your arm actually goes and can really be in the engagement of your experience. Confident in the choice you make. And exhale, letting it down. Good. Lifting that up one more time. Actually, two more times, sorry. And taking right arm down. Just tap and then right back up. Exhale, take it down. Let's do just one round of cat and cow. Exhale, push it away. Good. And then go on and take off any socks that you may be wearing, or if you want to start taking off any layers. We're going to start to lift up into downward facing dog. So go on and find your version of downward dog, whether that's legs straight or bent, hands turned out wide or not. I think one of the really neat things about practicing yoga for so many years is you start to see where at some point, and I know some of you practiced me long enough, we used to say to always have the fingers pointing forward. But maybe for your body and in this point of your practice, you play around with the hands pointing to the side or a little turned out or the legs more bent. So that you can walk away from tonight not in pain, but in your experience of these choices in your body, and the yoga is still suitable no matter what day you come to the mat. So maybe you play around with the hands turning out a little bit wider even, or maybe your feet go wider. That took me a while to like feel okay taking wide feet, which actually feels nice and spacious. And now start to lift the biceps up as the triceps wrap underneath you. So biceps up, triceps wrap underneath you. They wrap outside and underneath you. Good, one more breath here. As you exhale, let's go on and take right leg forward to a lunge. If you want your blocks, now's a great time to have them and grab them to lift the floor up. We'll pause here in a low lunge. Letting the hips drop and the crown of the head lift up. We're going to start to move into a forward fold here. So we'll start to straighten the back leg, straighten the front leg, fold over your front leg. Right hip draws back, left thigh comes forward a little bit. And now start to move on the breath. The inhale, you'll either move through low lunge or high lunge. And the exhale will bring you through this forward facing forward fold, Prasvottanasana. Good, do that 3 more times on the breath. The inhale through a lunge. The exhale, long and slow, folds you forward. Good. Finding a cadence to the breath. Maybe you start counting 4 counts in, 4 counts out. Maybe go a little less, maybe go a little more. Good, let's come to low lunge. We'll meet up in low lunge. And we're going to start to repeat this process of taking the arm forward. So go on and take your left arm straight out in front of you, thumb up. And then start to lift your arm up towards the ceiling, fingers towards the ceiling, and then start to turn your palm out to the left side of your mat. Maybe the palm starts to come down as you rotate the arm behind you, and then the palm starts to go to the side. So if that was confusing, just make sure the arm feels comfortable. Right, so right now my palm is facing in and dropping my shoulders a little bit. And then I'm going to inhale, I'm going to lift my arm up a bit, then I'm going to start to turn the palm up, or actually turn the fingers up, and then reach my left arm forward once again, thumb up, gently tap down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, thumb up, the palm faces in. Now my fingertips are reaching towards the ceiling, my palm is facing towards the front. Without moving my hips or chest, they're pointing forward. Slowly then start to turn your palm out as the shoulder blade draws in. And then as I start to round as I reach towards the back, my palm starts to turn in. Good. You can reverse that flow. Just noticing the intricacies as you come and all the way tap that left finger forward. Good. And then come on up and take a shorter stance. So a little bit more anatomy than flow or different breath techniques tonight, but either way, make sure you're staying in the breath, finding a flow and a rhythm that keeps you present. We're going to take the arms and take let's do the left arm, lift it straight up and reach the left hand behind us. And then the right arm reaches up our back. Now, if you want to grab your strap, you can. If you're comfortable holding on to your clothes, you could do that. But just be gentle here as we initiate, again, back into these Gomukhasana arms. Left elbow up to the ceiling, right hand going up the back or just staying towards the side once again. Start to move the elbows apart. Belly draws back. And now a little bit different, start to bend towards your right a little bit. So a bit of a side bend here at a little bit of a different angle. And make sure you're paying attention to the neck. So if I try to overdo it, I start to feel a little bit more in the neck, which seemed like too much. So I'm going to back out. And that side bend you can still get, maybe loosen up the arms a little bit. Just don't be afraid to play around with the outcome of how your pose ends up looking. Good. One more breath here in this side bend. Good. And then inhale, come on up. Good. Place the hands down. Lift that leg up. And let's come through downward facing dog. Good. Take a gentle downward facing dog. Biceps up, triceps wrap underneath you. Letting the head drop. And then making sure the belly is lifting up towards the spine, chest towards the thighs. Even pushing the mat forward. Your next exhale, let's switch sides. So left leg forward, right leg back. And we're going to start just in our lunge. Again, if you want your blocks nearby, use the blocks. Find your lunge. And then maybe we'll move right in if you're ready and you feel nice and stable. Start to straighten both legs, fold the body forward into Parsvottanasana, folding forward. Good. Your exhale, come slow or high lunge. Whoops, I think your inhale is lunge, your exhale is folding forward. And this is where, especially when we're moving a bit slower, I like to use a counted breath. It helps me stay anchored. Sometimes when we're moving at a different pace like this, my mind can wander or I focus on other things. So I encourage you at any point to count, drawing the breath in first for 4 or 5, and exhaling out for the same count, 4 or 5. So you make sure you're really moving on the breath, tapping into soothing the nervous system through the vagus nerve as we breathe out, especially, and letting the body down regulate here as well as gain some strength and maybe loosen up some of the body. Good, let's make this our last one, folding forward as you exhale. And we'll meet in the lunge. Good, coming to the lunge. Let's drop down to low lunge. And go on and take that right arm forward, thumb up. And then play around here as you reach forward. Start to lift that right arm up. Start to turn the palm forward. And then see as you start to rotate the palm behind you, it turns almost out and down a little before I reach behind and then turn the palm in. Now I'm trying to keep my chest forward. My hips are forward. Now I'm going to reverse that. Moving slow, trying to keep the integrity of the chest and hips forward. And eventually turning my palm forward. Reaching that right arm, hips stay back, and maybe tapping the hand down as I round back. Good, one more time, start to lift up. And just notice, maybe for you, it's like you hit the brakes in your arm, like it won't go any further. So start to slowly turn the palm maybe forward as you lift up a little more. And then as you get towards the top, you start to turn it out, softening around the neck. As you reach the hand only behind you and turn that palm in. And then we reverse that. Continuing with the breath as we go slowly through this. Good, you'll finish with the tap down. Lift it up, shift into a smaller or shorter rather, lunge pose. And then let's go on with right arm lifts up, left arm behind you. If you want to use your strap here, you can, or just reach the hands towards one another or hold your shirt. The ribs draw gently back. So there's like a lengthening through the low back, just a little. Elbows separate. And if that feels stable, you can start to take the side bend to the left. Again, maybe now adjusting your hands and the distance between them. Remembering sometimes, like when we do a yin practice, sometimes we just kind of start somewhere. And in that gentle bend, we then find the body naturally wants to go in a little deeper. So when we detach from the outcome and we settle into the experience, regardless of the shape, we can find a unique response to each of our bodies. Another breath here. And then we'll inhale, lift it up. And go on and release and come on down to hands and knees. So we're gonna come into dolphin right now. And I wanna give you two options here. So one can be with the block. If it works for you, you take the block, you place your hands in an L, and you place this down on the ground like that, palms down, elbows in. Now, the version I prefer to do, I know some people feel really stable with the block between their hands. The block's on the first height. It's flat on the ground. I'll demonstrate that, forearms down, and then you start to come to a shorter downward dog stance for dolphin. That doesn't work for me. What I like to do is the clasp of the hands and the elbows sort of like in the tripod. I put my arms in more of a tripod. That feels good and stable. Outer hands down. My elbows are not wider than my shoulders. My elbows are kind of just right underneath there, or as wide as my shoulders and not wider. I lift my hips up. I'm gonna let my head hang down just for a minute as I get situated. Again, you can play around with the distance of your feet here. And then I start to turn my head just a little bit so my gaze is at the floor, sort of near my elbows. Just make sure the neck feels good. Now you're pressing the mat forward, shifting the hips back. And we're gonna stay here another 30 seconds. So if this is something you're not used to practicing, I really encourage you to come out of it, take a break, maybe in child's, and then come back up for maybe just 3 breaths, and you'll build up the stamina. If you're still in dolphin, really press those forearms down, belly lifts up. Just another 3 breaths, 3 to 5 breaths. Pushing the mat away, building some heat in that part, but not overdoing it. Sometimes even here, bending the knees. Belly lifts up. Your next exhale, whenever it gets there, go on and come on down, take the knees wide and find child's pose, whatever version that looks like for you. Arms alongside the body, maybe you come into a reverse prayer pose, so that you get the backs of the arms, because we've been working the triceps a lot. But finding your version of child's pose that feels nourishing. Maybe even feels celebratory, right? Like if you think about it as wisdom pose, like taking good care of yourself this evening. Settling into maybe the darkness around us if you have windows and you can see. I mean, we're getting dark now, so just settling into that darkness of the season, of turning inward, of embracing whatever it is we find here. Your next exhale, go on and lift the body up, and we're going to sit back on our heels, super brief. But if this is too much for you to sit back on your heels, just to pause and notice, go on and you can grab your block if you have it. You can sit on the block to lift you up, or you can kick the legs out and come to a cross-legged, and just let the eyes close, let the mind settle. And then go on and open the eyes, and whichever version you're in, whether you're sitting on the feet or you're in cross-leg, let's take a gentle side bend towards the right. So I'm going to take my left arm down. I'm going to take my right arm out to the side bend. I'm going to start to do just a bit of Kapalabhati. So remember, Kapalabhati is the rapid exhalation through the nose, but you're always inhaling. So as you're ready, exhale the breath out fully. Inhale in, and then exhale. You're pumping out through the nose, the belly is rapidly drawing back in. Make sure you're always inhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. And then inhale, lift it up. If you need to switch your legs or switch your position, go on and adjust, and then we'll switch right to the other side. Right arm down, left arm across. I'm going to settle in, reach the arm. Again, it doesn't have to be anything overexerting, starting to feel that side body. And then start with your Kapalabhati. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale, lift it up. Again, let the eyes shut or gently look down towards the ground and just notice. And then gently open the eyes and come on up to Uttanasana. So we'll meet in Uttanasana. Going up to the front of your mat in Uttanasana. And letting the body fold forward. Again, noticing this This idea of, are you folding so much so that you're feeling tension in the legs or the back? And can you change the narrative so that you are engaging the body, but it's not quite, it's not building tension. Good. So Uttanasana, standing forward fold, letting that head fully drop. And now your next inhale, lift halfway up. And your exhale, piece by piece, let the body fold forward, no rush. Good. Your next inhale, lift everything up, root down and rise up. And pause into Tadasana. From here, we're going to come to eagle arms. So we're going to take the arms out in front of us, and we're going to cross the left arm on top, right arm on the bottom. And then see here if you want to just cross towards the wrists, or you want the hands to cross. So we'll start to get the arms situated. And then once that feels comfortable, I'm going to figure forward my legs. So I'm going to take my feet a comfortable distance where I feel steady. I'm going to bend the knees, and I'm going to start to take my right outer foot to the top, to the bottom of my left thigh. So I'm in figure four in my legs, like we do this on our back sometimes. And now I've got my arms in eagle arms or Garudasana arms. You want to bring a little bit more to the upper body, start pressing the bottom arm into the top arm and then release that. And you could do that a couple more times, pressing the bottom into the top and releasing. Either way, let the belly draw back, long lower back. Chest is lifting up and the elbows are moving out and up. Get a couple more breaths here. Your inhale will lift you up. Keep your arms if you can. Good. And then go on and take the left leg behind us and come to warrior two with the leg. So right leg is bent, left leg is behind, stamping that foot down. My arms are still in Garudasana arms. And I'm in a lunge here, right leg forward, left leg back. Find your warrior two. And now inhale, straighten both legs, turn the feet towards the left, and start to release your arms as we fold forward. So coming forward into Prasarita Padasvanasana. And once you find the forward fold, bend the knees if you need to, so that you're not gripping anywhere. And then come on halfway up. And now I'm going to encourage you to either try a crisscross in your arms. I'm reaching left hand towards right leg and right leg to left. So I'm making an X with my arms as I fold. Or you can let them come back to Garudasana arms, or you can just let them be in the regular version. So 3 options here with the arms as you let the neck hang down. And finding your version that feels like success in your body tonight. Knowing that success looks different for each of us. And knowing that maybe it's just about the breath. Maybe that's success. That you stayed on a 4 count in, 4 count out. Maybe success is actually really feeling a connection to the feet on the ground and the length of the spine, from the tail to the crown of the head. Maybe success for you is feeling solid, but also feeling some movement in the body and sway in your vitality. Your next inhale, release the arms. Let's slowly lift the body up. Lifting the body all the way back up. We're gonna come to extended side angle here. So I'm gonna roll my right toes out. I'm coming back into a warrior stance. I'm gonna give you the choice here. If you want to use the block in this pose, you can. Otherwise, I'm gonna guide us through with the right arm on the thigh. And I'm gonna start with my left arm reaching overhead beyond my ear. I'm gonna start to roll my upper body and open up the chest. And now, like we did before, we're gonna start to lift the fingers up towards the ceiling. I'm starting to take them like to 12 o'clock. And then I'm gonna rotate my palm. Now my hand is turning towards the back as I start to reach my arm behind me and then place the back of my hand maybe on my hip or my low back. And I'm letting the revolve action happen just from the upper body. So I'm not trying to turn the hips too much. I'm trying to let it be about the upper body and the chest. And then I'm going to drop my head back a bit. So I really feel this in the upper body, not the lower back. This is all about the upper body and the chest. One more breath here. And then exhale, press down, lift everything up. And let's revolve the hands down. Let's take that. We're going to come to Vasisthasana here with the left hand down. So I'm going to bend the right knee. If you want to take full Vasisthasana, go for it. I'm going to walk us through the knee down version. I'm going to kick my left foot out to the side. Take my right leg out behind me. My right arm lifts in the air, lengthening through my head and through my right foot. And then maybe you want to do that sort of half bind where you reach the hand back, palm up, and then the palm face up on the sacrum area. One more breath here. Sides of the waist lift. And then exhale. Come through down dog, or maybe you want to move through a vinyasa of choice. Finding movement or stillness, whatever you're called to do as we transition to get to the other side. We will meet up in downward dog. And then from downward dog, walk the feet towards the front of your mat as you're ready. You'll inhale halfway up. You'll exhale, fold it forward once again, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift everything up towards Tadasana. The arms up, and now settle into Tadasana here. Hands through the heart or alongside the body. And gently release, and let's switch sides. So we'll start this time, right arms crossing on top. So I'm going to find my eagle arms, see how this side feels. And then I'm going to find the steadiness of my feet. And I'm going to take that left leg on top now. And so I'm sitting into my seat. My right arm is on top, my left leg is on the top of the thigh towards the base. And then again, if you want to play around with the arms, you can press them into each other. Either way, let those elbows come forward a little bit and up. So the elbows move forward and up, belly draws back. Gaze is soft and fixed. While the breath is changeable, and in motion, fluid. Good. Your inhale, lift everything up, and let's switch sides with the legs. So left leg bend, right leg moves back into warrior two, but my torso is facing the long edge of my mat here. Warrior two with eagle arms and my torso facing the long edge of my mat. Good. Now open the arms, turn the feet towards the long edge, same long edge, And let's fold forward, and feel free to move into whatever version of this forward fold, whether it's the crossing of the arms again, or if you want to go back to holding eagle arms, or just letting them be free. Be here several more breaths. Let this be your last breath in and out in this posture. And then your inhale will lift you back up. And let's come to extended side angle. So find your warrior stance. And again, because we're focusing so much on the upper body, if your legs are feeling like it's too much tonight, then keep them straight. And we'll work on extended side angles, or you can come to a more minor bend as you start to bend the body, or if you feel like you want to intensify the heat, then you can come in a little deeper and find your posture. So as you press that back foot down, reach the right fingers past your ear. Hug, you gotta really hug that left hip in. But again, I say hug, but I don't mean grip. I mean like feel the stability of hugging that left outer hip in. Feel the strength, your capability. And then start to rotate to 12 o'clock with the right hand. And then start to find that rotation in your arm, maybe as you take that half bind or just gently draping that right arm behind you, palm up. Finding a gaze that's suitable for the head and the neck. And then maybe dropping the head back behind you so you feel this a bit more in the upper chest. Your inhale, lift it all up. Return facing the front of the mat, and we'll come into, we'll actually have to stay, keep going whatever way where your left leg's forward, because to come to Vasisthasana. So whatever direction you're facing with the left leg forward, start to turn with the left leg into a lunge, left leg forward, right leg back, and now we're coming into Vasisthasana. Full version, or the version with the knee down. You'll start to sweep that left leg behind you, right shoulder stacks over right wrist, sides of the waist lift, and then choose the medicine you want for your arm. Maybe you want to keep playing around with that half bind motion of the rotation of the hand. Maybe it feels really good to reach the hand past your ear and get the whole side body in. And as you're ready, over the next breath or two, let's exhale out through a vinyasa. Maybe that's coming through plank, cobra, downward dog, or downward dog and child. Maiden downward dog. And your next exhale, go on and drop the knees down. So we're going to come through a version of pigeon. And I want to give you the option here of either doing pigeon figure 4 on your back. So lying down, and you'll start with the right leg and drawing in. So that would be figure 4 on your back. Or you'll start with the right leg forward. And with this pigeon, rather than try to make it about the hips, tuck your right foot in a little bit more so the hips are not feeling as much. So I sort of have those pigeon legs, but I have the foot in a lot closer than I would if I wanted to aim for the hips. I'm going to place my hands on the ground. And then as I inhale, I'm going to lift my gaze up. Again, don't do this if the knees are tweaky, or if if you know this is not your pose, then definitely come onto your back and do figure 4. If you're here with me, we'll do this a few times. We're going to exhale, fold the body forward. Inhale, round the spine and lift the body up. And let's do that 2 more times. Folding forward, lengthening. And then rounding as you come up. Folding forward, sort of moving through the shoulders, rounding up. Now here in upright, drop towards your right hip. I'm on the outside of my right hip. I'm on the inside of my left leg. And I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to reach it forward, round the back. So I'm leaning forward a little bit. Just find however your lean works. And then I'm going to inhale and come to cactus arm. And I'm going to exhale, round and tap my left fingers down. Good, 2 more times. Inhale, cactus with the upper body. Elbow draws back. Exhale, long and slow. Just tap that finger down as I lengthen forward. Good, 1 more time. You'll have the other side to kind of figure it out. And if this is your first time doing it, if you're feeling a little lost, just you can listen and watch or just find whatever feels good. Good, that's our last one. We lengthened and round and tapped. And now we're gonna come on up, back through downward dog if you want to, or just switch sides. So it's just like this version. I don't do pigeon very often, but when I do, I like this sort of undulation and movement here in the upper body version of it. So here we are, that left leg bent, right leg behind me. And I'm going to start to lengthen my body forward on the breath. And then inhale, round as I come up. And this fluid motion of lengthening down and rounding as I come up. Good, 1 more time, the lengthen through the spine, and then the round as I come up. And then as I come up, I'm going to drop off to the left outer hip. We've got my right inner knee down, my right inner foot down. And then I'm going to start with reaching that right arm forward, rounding, lengthening, tapping. And then I'm going to use the inhale to lift into a version of cactus. Now you might find you even want to come on your left forearm as you lengthen and reach that right arm down. Maybe be on the forearm is more accessible. And the inhale brings you into cactus. Good, last one. Round, lengthen, tap. And come right into cactus. Good. And then release. Maybe downward dog, your last downward dog. Or if you're on your back, then go on and just release your figure 4. And we will meet. Grab your blanket. And this might be where you want the blanket again rolled in tight or a little looser. We're going to place it right under the shoulders. And also, if you want to grab another layer, we're going to totally cool down. Maybe you'll stay in Shavasana like this, or maybe you'll come out, take the blanket out. But if you want to add another layer on, I encourage you to do that now. And then we'll go on, and with that blanket roll, we're going to slide the shoulder blades on the blanket, and your armpits are dangling off. So I've got the blanket under my shoulder blades towards the bottom. And if you need, if that's too much for your low back, maybe just walk down a little bit or walk up a little bit and just see so that the lower back feels comfortable. And I'm going to come into cactus arms. Again, if that's comfortable, if not, maybe a T, or lower your arms a little bit. So here we are. I'm gonna let this be one of our last postures here, this opener for the chest. If it's too much, you can adjust that roll, remember. And what's nice about this one is it really is like the total opposite of what most of us do in our everyday. I think so much of our life is forward facing and folding of the upper body that this is an exact opposite. So finding a way to let the upper body relax, the neck relax, maybe you've closed the eyes. And maybe you already found a way that feels good with your legs. I tend to do this with my knees bent. Again, just like we began, a little wider in the feet and the knees coming together. But if you find that there's another version, I encourage you to do that. Or play around with both and then decide which one is suitable tonight. And as we drop back here for a little bit longer, see if there can be a sense of effortlessness. So you've completed the effort. And now you get to settle into the sort of unknown effortlessness. And the sounds come in and out through your senses. Letting all parts of the whole be heavy. Letting all parts feel supported. Both that which we can see and the parts of ourselves that we can't quite see but we feel. And the support of your practice and your breath. Now, if you want to stay here for Shavasana, then feel free to do so. If you like to shift into a different Shavasana, then the least amount of effort, you can roll to the side, slide that blanket out, maybe use it under your neck, and settle into a few more minutes of Shavasana here. Begin to deepen your breath here. And if you are still with a blanket underneath you, go on and roll to your side and take that blanket out just so you have a few moments without the blanket. And go on and bring some movement to the body. And find your way to your side. Pausing on your side. Just for a full breath in. And a full breath out. And then coming up to a comfortable seat to close out our practice. We're finding a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Unless you are still so drawn to stay in Shavasana, then I encourage you to linger there as long as you need to and just keep going at your own pace. Coming up to the seat, we're going to do 3 rounds of a breath called Brahmarya. And Brahmarya is like the sound M. We do it sometimes where we close the ears and it sounds a little bit like a buzzing bee, or the sound M, like in Om, the M sound. And I'll do it one time. Sounds like this. And my lips are closed. And so we'll go through it 3 rounds, but for starters, let's go on and take a big inhale in and a full exhale out. Empty out your breath. And then drawing the breath in, closing or gently closing the lips. And then continue on a couple more rounds. We'll do 2 more rounds. And drawing the breath in, the lips are gently closed, and that sound as you maybe feel it vibrating in the back of the throat. Last round. Just pausing a breath or 2 here to notice. It's a really great breath when I want to add a little bit more focus at the end of my practice. Calming focus. And just noticing the quality of breath. Noticing how the body has transitioned here from the beginning to the end. The gift of this body here. And even noticing the response of your mind to the practice. Please draw your hands together in front of your heart. Whatever your experience has been, I thank you for your presence and I thank you for your practice. Namaste.